Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? How do you begin to transform your own understanding of fault and blame and responsibility when you have been hurt in childhood?
Mhm. I think so. We hear this often, what you're saying, we need to um, not carry it with us anymore. And what you often hear is, the society social media, which is very concerning, is telling us to heal because everyone wants to heal. It's the whole trend, and also a healthy trend, of course, to a degree. You need to forgive as well. And that with that, we bypass healing. That is very concerning because when we forgive too soon without the acknowledgement of what was done to us, first of all, you cannot really forgive because to forgive, we need to have self-compassion. Self-compassion we can only have when we acknowledge. It's not necessarily our parents who has to acknowledge it, as long as we, or I don't know, with the therapist, acknowledges what happened to you. Um, Only then we can have self-compassion and then we can forgive. But we need to go to those situations the childhood, and that is complicated. That's why I also created a Heal Your Inner Child online course for people to understand. I give specific examples of what can go wrong. And you're mentioning now a couple of things, or if you were sexually abused or you were beaten, etc. So these, at least, I'm not saying that it makes it more easy, but at least were visible things that happened as a child, at least. But I have a lot of clients, high functioning, with the amazing parents who are still together, and they haven't had a connection in their whole life. They're living in prison because they were manipulated by narcissistic dynamics, etc., for instance. And that is much more complex. So people, it would be amazing if with social media, we could go more specifically to childhood situations and people could start identifying situations. For instance, I have a client, I used to have a client, and he said, my childhood was great. Everything was great. And then when we go deeper, turns out that the parent was very selfish. And so now he doesn't trust people. We need to acknowledge all these things because often, for instance, another example, Mike, I'm not sure if you've heard this one. I hear this often with people around me. My mother is just difficult. She means well. She's just anxious, being anxious. Okay. She was just overprotective. Well, I don't agree with that. She might have been anxious, but apparently she's selfish to not take her problems to a psychologist and to burden you with worrying about her. And you should be a child. You should be worrying about yourself. You should not be worrying about your parents. And that is traumatic. If you need to comfort your parents, that is not okay. It's robbing your childhood, etc. It has a lot of implications, but people are not aware of that. This is just an example.